Foggy Bottom Line Media. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Stan Scott with Foggy Bottom Line Media. I'm the co-host of Two Crusty Old Combat Soldiers with a Microphone, along with my friend Scott Konopasek. Scott is out this week at an electoral board conference, so the regular podcast will be late. But I wanted to do a quick spot report on the Iran war after developments this morning. A couple of weeks ago, when we did our first show on this, we talked about how some insiders who knew this was going to happen placed bets on prediction markets that the bombing would happen before March 1st and that Ayatollah Khamenei would be out of office before March 1st. The bombing started, Khamenei was killed, and a bunch of people who knew what was going to happen made a lot of money. Well, today they've struck again. This morning, Donald Trump posted on social media that we were in negotiations with the Iranians, good negotiations, fruitful negotiations that might lead to an end or a ceasefire. And somebody, right before he did that, placed orders for stock futures and oil futures, anticipating that this announcement would surge markets, surge the stock market, and cause a drop in the price of oil. That is exactly what happened. Stock market's up $1,000 points today, and oil prices are down. I'm going to say this again. This morning at about 5:30 a.m., Donald Trump posted on social media that we were in negotiations with Iran for a ceasefire. He knew this would jump the markets. He knew this would bump the stock market. He knew this would cause oil prices to plummet. And people who he knew, someone who knew this was going to happen, bet in the stock market and bet on oil futures that this would happen, and it did. Guess what? Iran says, no, we're not in negotiations. There have been no negotiations. So why did they do this? Two reasons. One is to bump the markets. Markets were crashing. It was in free fall. It was losing 3 or 4 points a day, right? Down from 50K down to 45,000. Right? Oil prices were going up, gas prices going up, cost of everything going up, running out of fuel in Australia. Farmers in the U.S. can't get fertilizer because the Strait of Hormuz are closed. Donald Trump threatened to bomb Iran's electricity production plants if they didn't open the Strait of Hormuz. And guess what Iran said to that? Oh, go for it. Do it. We'll hit you back harder. We'll start hitting desalination plants that millions of people depend on for their water. We'll start hitting oil fields in Saudi Arabia. We'll hit the gas fields in Qatar again. Donald Trump wanted to back off on that. So he did this for two reasons. One was to spike the market and get the price of oil to come down a little bit. And two, to give him some leeway on this 48-hour ultimatum. Now it's 5 days. But the Iranians say we're not talking. Folks, this is a grift from start to frickin' finish. And I don't know, if you look at right-wing social media, you see them arguing about whether we just followed Israel down this path, whether we're just doing Israel's bidding, or whether this is a good idea. Joe Kent, part of Donald Trump's counterterrorism team, and a hardcore MAGA guy, resigned over this war because he doesn't believe, he said it, the guy who is leading Donald Trump's counterterrorism team said that Iran is not an imminent threat and there was no reason for us to bomb them. It's all about Israel. I don't know about any of that. What I do know is Donald Trump is grifting the United States. He's willing to let the economy in this country go to hell so he can put more money in his pocket. And guess what? His net worth since he took the presidency again is up from 2 billion some up to 6 billion. The guy is printing money on our backs. And he started a war to do part of it. Folks, this has to stop. Somebody needs to do something about this. This is the swamp Donald Trump swore he was going after in 2015. This is the swamp Donald Trump swore he was going after in 2015. We've got to do something about this. I'm going to say all this again real quick, summarize. Somebody bought stock futures and oil futures betting that the market would go up and gas prices would go down right after Donald Trump made an announcement that we were negotiating with Iran. He lied. We're not negotiating with Iran. not in any formal way. The fighting has not stopped, but Donald Trump and his insider buddies made a lot of money. This is the problem, people. These wealthy people, these billionaires, the Elon Musk of the world, the Zuckerbergs, these guys are making money off our backs, and they're using a war to do it. People are dying, including American service members are dying because Donald Trump wanted to make more money for him and for his buddies. And now they're talking about sending Marines to try to take Carg Island. And if you want to see casualties spike, if you want to see a real mess, let's put troops on the ground in Iran. Folks, Iran is not Iraq. This is not the Iraqi Republican Guards that we went up against in the 90s in Kuwait. It's not. These guys have more people under arms than we do, or just as many, and they will fight for their homeland. So we got to do something. Donald Trump is grifting us. He started a war either to help Israel, his buddy Israel, for God knows why, or so he could make money. And he's talking about terrorism. And yeah, Iran, they do terrorism. They fund Hamas. They fund Hezbollah, all of that. But they were no threat to the United States. They were no threat to us, and no real threat to Israel. If we would just stop bombing them, if Israel would stop bombing them, then some of this might be resolved. So this is Stan Scott with Foggy Bottom Line Media. I want to ask you to go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to Two Crusty Old Combat Soldiers and a Microphone. Check us out on social media. Take a look at the Patreon. You can subscribe on the Patreon for a minimal amount. You can subscribe on YouTube for free, and all of this will help us keep the lights on. Comment, share, let us know what you think. We got to get this message out. The mainstream media is not covering any of this. The mainstream media is pretending none of this is happening. The right-wing media sphere, the podcasters, they're not talking about this because it makes their boy look bad. But Donald Trump is using a war to grift us or to protect himself from something Bibi Netanyahu has on him. Go down an Epstein rabbit hole there. And maybe it's just to distract us all from the Epstein thing, which still hasn't been done. Still hasn't been fully open up, made transparent with all of the stuff that the FBI has on Donald Trump in the Epstein files. So take a look at the YouTube channel. Take a look at our Patreon. Go to the website, www.foggybottomline.com. And this is, I got no words. We've really got to do something about this. If you're in Virginia, vote yes on April 21st and start looking at voting for Democrats in November. We've got to get Congress back so it'll finally do its job. This is Stan Scott with Foggy Bottom Line Media. Appreciate you listening in just for a couple minutes. Have a great afternoon, and I'm out here.